Hello everybody, Ilovetrains323 here, and welcome to this compilation. This is a few of my older videos that either never got finished or I ended up canceling at some point for various reasons. I asked on Twitter a few days ago, and it seemed people would be interested in this type of video, so I thought, why not give it a shot? So here is a few of my canceled videos that either I just didn't like, I never finished, or canceled because different reasons. So I hope you guys enjoy. I'd also like to apologize for the quality of my microphone in this video. I'm currently in the process of moving, and my normal microphone has been packed away in a box that I can't find right now. So I'm just recording from my Mac directly into iMovie where I edit. So I'm sorry. If I ever do this again, I will use the good bike, I promise. Now first up is a remake of Edward's Exploit that I ended up doing in Trains. I believe this is back in 2013, 2014, when I was still using Trains Mac, and I didn't have a lot of dependencies, so I never ended up finishing it just because I lost interest, and it really wasn't that good because it was very laggy. But, so yeah, enjoy this.
Bertie the bus was giving some visitors a tour of the island of Sodor. It was their last afternoon, and Edward was preparing to take them to meet Bill and Ben. He found it hard to start the heavy train. "Did you see him straining?" asked Henry. "Positively painful," remarked James. "Just pathetic," grunted Gordon. "He should give up and be preserved before it's too late." "Shut up," burst out Duck. "You're all jealous. Edward's better than any of you." "You're right, Duck," said Boko. "Edward's old, but he'll surprise us all." "I've done it, we're off! I've done it, we're off!" said Edward as he finally puffed out of the station. Bill and Ben were delighted to see the visitors. They loved being photographed. Later, they took the party to the China Clay Works in a brake van special. Everyone had a splendid time, and the visitors were most impressed. Then Edward took the visitors home. On the way, the weather changed. Wind and rain buffeted Edward. His sanding gear failed, and his fireman rode in front, dropping sand on the rails by hand.
Now you can see why I decided not to finish that, especially that green screen shot. Now, next up is a canceled episode of my Trackmaster series. I originally started this episode as a way to test eye movements in iMovie when I was first learning how to do them, and a lot of things came along. It just started getting too hot to film outside. It took a long time to get lines from other people. So this is the second to last test render I did. There are a few missing voices, as you'll be able to see, but I believe that the title of the episode was called James and the Mail Train, and It just involved James leaving his brake van behind while helping Percy with the mail train. It wasn't the best episode, if I remember correctly, so I'm honestly not that fussed that it didn't get finished. But I hope you guys enjoy what's here. One morning, Thomas the Tank Engine puffed happily into Bradford Station to collect his coaches. As he was waiting for his passengers to board, Percy puffed alongside, returning from his mail run.
Your attention, please. This is
Good morning, Percy. Late night.
You could say that again. The ship from the mainland was delayed, and to make matters worse, there was so much mail that had to add an extra car to my train to hold it all. I have barely had any time to rest since I left Brendan.
You should talk to Sir Topham Hatt about it. He could probably send another engine to help you.
You're right, Thomas. I will.
Just then, Thomas's guard blew his whistle, and Thomas had to leave. Later, Percy was shunting his mail cars into their siding. He looked over and he noticed Sir Topham Hatt talking to Duck. Percy puffed over.
Excuse me, sir. Well, sir, that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about.
So Percy explained the situation. That night, Percy arrived at the docks to collect his mail cars, when he noticed Porter shunting an extra train on the other track.
Oh, Porter, don't tell me I have to take 2 trains tonight. I wonder who it is. Oh no, not! I'm not too small. There's just more than normal.
James puffed away in a huff. Suddenly, Percy noticed something.
James! James! You've forgotten your brake van!
But James was already too far to hear.
Oh dear, this isn't going to end well.
So as you can see, that video still had a bunch of missing lines, and just overall, the story wasn't that great. I mean, I believe the rest of the story was James going down Gordon's Hill, not being able to stop, and crashing. That was basically it. And then Percy showing up with his brake van, and then James getting told off like every James story these days. So, again, I'm not that fussed that it never got finished, but I do feel bad for Aaron and Cameron, who ended up doing lines for it, and then nothing became of it. So, this next video is another trains video I made in 2013. It was based off a joke that me and a few friends in our group were spreading around. We were trying to come up with a fake episode for season 17 called Duck Takes the Bus. So this short was going to be a musical short. I believe Carson was going to be making the music for it, but we just never got around to doing it. And basically, the gist of it is Birdie is on his afternoon run, and he finds an area that he's never been through before. And so he was going to explore this new area, and it doesn't go quite to plan, as you'll see at the end. So I hope you guys enjoy Duck Takes the Bus. I will give you a fair warning in advance that most of the video is pretty boring because there is no music. It's all just sound effects and only birds for like 90% of it. So if you want to, skip to this time that's on the screen, and you should be able to skip over it if you don't feel like watching this one. So, as you can see, not the best video, and kind of violent when you think about it. Uh, like I said, the music was never done for it, so I just kind of gave up on it. And then looking back on most of the footage, it was extremely laggy and just not good. So, as most of my Mac Trains videos were. Speaking of Mac Train videos, some of you may remember I did around the time of Sodor's Legend of the Lost Treasure coming out, I did a remake of Ballast, and originally I was planning on doing the entire book of small railway engines, but I never got that far. I did, however, start on Tit for Tat, and so that is what you're about to see, is how far I got into that one. Once again, Trains Mac video, very laggy, missing dependencies, not great. But it's something. So I guess without further ado, here's an unfinished remake of Tit for Tat.
The engines were being cleaned and polished for the day. Bert, who was going out first, had a tall chimney in his funnel to draw up his fire. "We've got visitors today," said his driver. "We have 'em every day," grunted Mike. "But these are special," said the driver. "One takes moving pictures, and the other writes books. So mind you all behave." "I don't want to be a moving picture in a book," protested Bert. "I want to stay as I am." They all tried to explain, but Bert was still muddled when he went to take his train. The visitors were clergymen, one fat, the other thin. They arrived in a little car. Both had cameras. They shook hands with Bert's driver. "A small controller," he told them. "Says you can ride with me in Bert's tender if you like." "Thank you," they said. "May we come later, please? Just now the sun is shining so nicely that we want to take photographs." Then they asked Bert his name and told him how smart he looked. These visitors, he thought, do at least know how to speak to engines. He puffed away feeling happier.
So that's about how far I got into Tit for Tat. I believe I ended up shifting focus to Thomas the Train's adventures and working more on finishing season 1 at that point instead of doing remakes. Which leads me into the next video, which again is another canceled Trains remake. This time I was originally making this for the 71st, I believe, anniversary in 2016. This is a half-done remake of The Sad Story of Henry, which in turn, having not finished this, inspired me to make the special that I made a couple years ago for the 75th. And I'm glad I did that one rather than this one.
Once an engine attached to a train was afraid of a few drops of rain. It went into a tunnel and squeaked through its funnel and never came out again. The engine's name was Henry. His driver and fireman argued with him, but he wouldn't move. He said,
No, I shan't come out so that the rain will spoil my lovely green paint with red stripes.
The guard blew his whistle till he had no more breath and waved his flags till his arms ached. But Henry stayed in the tunnel and blew steam at him.
Go away. I'm not going to spoil my lovely green paint and red stripes for you.
The passengers came and argued too, but Henry would not move.
No, leave me alone.
A fat director who was on the train told the guard to get a rope.
Fetch a rope, will you? That's right. Now, Henry, we will pull you out.
But Henry only blew steam at him and made him wet.
Leave me alone.
They hooked the rope on and all pulled except the fat director.
My doctor has forbidden me to pull, don't you know?
They pulled and pulled and pulled, but still Henry stayed in the tunnel. Then they tried pushing from the other end. The fat director said,
1, 2, 3, push!
but he didn't help himself. He said,
My doctor has forbidden me to push.
they pushed and pushed and pushed, but still Henry stayed in the tunnel. At last, another train came. The guard waved his red flag and stopped it. The 2 engine drivers, the 2 firemen, and the 2 guards went and argued with Henry. Look, Henry, it's stopped raining.
Yes, but it'll begin again soon, and what would become of my green paint with red stripes then?
So they brought the other engine up. And it pushed and...
So, as I said in the last one, I canceled this remake because I just decided to shift my focus on working on Season 1 and Little Western Rescue of Thomas the Train's Adventures. I had fallen so far behind schedule with Little Western Rescue at that point that I just wanted to get it done, and doing little remakes was just wasting the time that I had. So most of my remakes around then were just immediately canceled, and I didn't feel like working on them anymore. Now this next video is kind of recent, slightly. This is from 2019, I believe. And it was originally going to be a Thomas the Train's Adventures short, until the script basically became episode length, and it was going to be longer than To Be Quite Frankie. So I ended up canceling it midway through filming the first few minutes of it. It's called The Case of the Missing Rails, and I believe it may get life somewhere else soon, because I've talked to James about him doing it at some point, but I don't know for sure if it'll get out there. So I don't want to spoil it, but I believe what I'm about to show you has been taken out of the original script. So I hope you enjoy this little sneak peek of something that may come in the future.
The Case of the Missing Rails. It was a busy summer's day on the island of Sodor. Philip was taking some pipes to the docks. As he was rolling along, he saw a strange-looking train sitting on the line ahead.
Huh, I wonder who left this here. What on earth? Monster!
Philip raced off as fast as his wheels would let him.
Huh? Oh well.
Do you hear something, Cranky?
What is that?
Ah! Monster! He's coming for me!
Whoa, whoa, whoa! What's going on there, shipmate?
There's a monster on the branch line stealing the track!
Monster? Stealing track? Ugh, he's finally cracked.
Arg, there be no such thing as monsters, matey. No need to worry.
You didn't see what I saw, Salty. It was big, ugly, and yellow. Oh no! He's got me! Ah!
Such a strange little engine.
So, like I said before, I ended up canceling this because it ended up being like an 11-page script. It was gonna be episode length, and I didn't want a 17-minute short in my list of videos, because nobody lets me forget that To Be Quite Frankie was 11 minutes. minutes. So that was basically why that was canceled. I do think it's ironic a little bit that the possibility of James taking over this video is there, because the entire Brendam Docks scene was actually filmed by James in Trains a New Era. This was still while I was transitioning between the two. Now for this final video, some of you might follow my train series, Thomas the Train's Adventures, on its wiki, and some of you may know that there are a few cancelled episodes of the series. This is one of them. I originally filmed this entire episode back in 2016. It was originally meant to be episode 5 of season 1, but then I started wanting to do more original stories rather than adaptions, and so this episode was canceled, and to be perfectly honest, I'm kind of glad it was, but it had been entirely filmed, mostly edited. It was just missing a few lines. So, I would like to present to you the canceled episode of Thomas the Train's Adventures, Buffer Bashing.
Winter was passing, but there were still 1 or 2 late frosts. Though they made everything glisten in the golden rays of sunlight, it made the rails very slippery. Donald and Douglas took turns bringing ballast down from the small railway, and James would then take the ballast to where the workmen were repairing the line. One morning, Donald had dropped off his load of ballast as he was familiar with doing.
I will be so glad when these repairs are done.
Don't worry, James. I hear that the line is almost done. Just a few more loads of ballast to go and things should be back to normal.
With that, Donald went into his siding like he always did. But this was the trip where things were different. The siding had not been used during the past day, and frost coated the rails in a thick layer that would make it hard to grip. As Donald puffed off the main track, he applied his brakes, but it did nothing.
Okay, can it stop? Help!
Luckily, the buffers had stopped him. That's what they were there for. But it wasn't often that they were actually used to prevent an accident, and some of the older ones had begun to rot.
Bust my buffers!
Duck was sitting nearby, and he steamed over to pull Donald back onto the rails. Donald was afraid of what the Fat Controller was going to say about the accident. When he got back to the sheds, the other engines teased him about it.
You're one step away from becoming a skating champ, Donald.
Even Donald had to laugh. But that didn't stop him from worrying about what the Fat Controller was going to say. But to his surprise, the Fat Controller wasn't cross.
The accident wasn't your fault, Donald. I understand that. It was due to the frost and slippery rails. As for the buffers, they're completely destroyed. We'll have to rebuild them. Please try to be more careful in future, Donald.
The next day, the Fat Controller sent workmen to mend the buffers. At last, James's repair work on the line was ending. The Fat Controller ordered Douglas to take the last ballast train the following day, and so next morning the Scottish twin pulled the loaded trucks into where relieved James was sitting.
Here you are, James. What are you going to be doing now that this assignment is done, James?
Pull some passengers, I hope. I'm tired of doing the same thing every day.
Ah, never mind. Today's the last one, and then we can all have a well-deserved rest when it's over.
Then he moved off into the short siding to let James take over. At the end of the siding, the men who had been mending the buffers were standing to one side. They had just finished painting it bright red and were admiring their work. He clanked down the empty siding calmly.
They look much better than before. The Fat Controller is probably glad Donald smashed it up.
His driver gently put on the brakes. Nothing happened. He tried again. Still nothing.
Horrors! Oh, I can't stop!
The workmen watched in dismay as Douglas rode steadily along the line and smashed the buffers they had just repaired to pieces.
Ah, that hurt.
Douglas had been moving even faster than Donald had. His front was badly damaged, and he had bright red paint all over his frames.
"You silly great engine!"
yelled one of the workmen, waving his paintbrush furiously. Some of the paint flew out and stuck on Douglas's nose.
3 days' work, and in 3 seconds you come and smash it all to pieces.
Douglas's front wheels were off the rails, so Edward had come to pull him back onto the track. Later, the Fat Controller spoke severely to Douglas about engines not taking care in sidings.
"You should know better to take care in sidings. That red paint shall be left on your nose as a reminder of your foolish behavior."
That night the engines thought it very suitable to talk about buffers.
You know, Douglas, even if we are twins, we shouldn't always have to do the same things.
So, that is just a few of the unfinished, unreleased, cancelled videos that I have on my hard drive. I hope you guys enjoyed this little video and kind of an insight to see how I do things, like in the Phillips short of how I do lines before sound effects and music, and how bad my old videos used to be. Not that my new ones are that much better, but at least I have 3 frames per second rather than the usual 2. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you liked it, I have a few more videos that I could throw into another compilation. I do apologize again for the sound of this microphone. Like I said at the beginning, I'm currently moving to a different area, and my usual microphone's been packed away, and I just wanted to get this video out. So, yeah, that's about it. This is what happens when I don't have a script. I apologize. But I hope to have some more videos coming soon. Like I said, if you guys want to see another unreleased videos compilation, let me know down in the comments if they're still there. Either that or the community post that is for this video on Twitter. And hit the like button, as the usual YouTubers say. But for now, I will leave you guys with this. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you again next time. Bye!